Hey everybody, welcome back to the Rewatch Show. It's still spooky season.
We got something special for you guys. We're going to be doing a giveaway. So if you like and comment on the video, then subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can be entered for a chance to win. Stay tuned to the end of the episode for more details.
All right, gather around. It's time for a scary story. In 1971, the Perrin family moved into the ancient Whitford house in Harrisville, Rhode Island, unaware of its cursed history. Soon, shadows moved mysteriously, and ghostly hand played a chilling game of hide and clap. When Carolyn, the mother, began waking with unexplained bruises and her daughter April whispered to unseen friends, they sought help. Enter Ed and Lorraine Warren, paranormal investigators. Lorraine, gifted with clairvoyance, saw the house dark past. Bathsheba, a woman who sacrificed her child and cursed the land. One fateful night, the curse took hold of Carolyn. The time running out, Ed, fueled by faith, performed an exorcism. Lorraine, invoking the power of love and memory, broke the possession. Dawn brought priests to the Whitford house, but the winds whispered of another haunted place, beckoning the Warrens to their next mission.
Right, it's 9:18. We're headed down into the cellar where the door's just opened on its own. Give us a sign that you want to communicate with us. Nothing.
What are you guys?
Well, we've been called ghost hunters, paranormal researchers.
But we prefer to be known simply as Ed and Lorraine Warren.
There's someone here that would like to talk to you.
There's something horrible happening in my house.
It's November 1st, 1971. I'm sitting here with Carolyn Perrin, who, with her family, has been experiencing supernatural occurrences. You picking up anything in here, hon?
Something awful happened here, Ed.
What is it? Whatever Lorraine sees, feels, touches, it takes a toll on her. A little piece each time.
You have a lot of spirits in here, but there's one that I'm most worried about because it is so hateful. Look what she made me do. We have to get out of here.
That's not gonna help.
This thing has latched itself to your family.
Father, we never seen nothing like this.
I'm coming with you.
No way. I can't lose you.
There's a lady in a dirty nightgown that I see in my dreams. She's standing in front of my mom's bed. Do you want to see him?
Yeah?
When the music stops, you see him in the mirror standing behind you.
Look what she made me do.
Oh man, it's The Conjuring. I love this freaking movie, man. It's one of those well-produced horror movies. So, what do we think of this movie, Mike?
Great movie. Great movie. Great movie. I think this is the beginning of the transition you see from maybe horror movies in the past where you maybe have lesser dialogue and more cheesy effects and things of that nature into a time now where horror movies are on par with dramas and award-winning movies of that nature. You know, this is one of those movies by far.
That's a great point because it's like, you know, for the longest time, and there have been I'm not saying that this is the first well-produced or well-made horror movie. That's not what I'm saying. I don't think it's what one of us are saying. I think for the longest time, though, horror movies had this stigma of being B-quality films.
Right.
And this movie is well-performed, well-made, all around scary. I mean, it's a scary, scary movie.
It is.
And all the right moments are in there. So it does have those tropes of classic horror where it's, you know, the spooky stare, the spooky, shocking moments, and the noises, the creepy, the score is well done, and it intertwines with these suspenseful moments. It's got all those classic tropes of horror, but it just feels like it's being taken very seriously.
Yeah, very, very much so. This is definitely a more serious movie. This is James Wan, and he was also the creator of Saw and Insidious.
Yes.
Which I see some similarities to the Conjuring universe and the Insidious. It seems that he likes to write things that are transition into a larger movie verse, or however you would say that.
He does. I mean, like in most good directors of horror, he enjoys being able to keep it open for a sequel, right? And he doesn't just do that with this. You're absolutely right. He makes this is a Conjuring universe.
Right. No, it's what, 8 films now.
Yeah. You have here in our notes that you have almost in chronological order of if you wanted to watch this like a Star Wars nerd would. Honestly, it's kind of feels the same way. But you have a chronological order in which to watch the films to make it move through time.
Right. Yeah, this one in particular is good. It's a list that it puts the movie in order of how they would be in the years that they took place. So, for instance, number 1 is The Nun in 1952, and then you have Annabelle in 1952 as well. The Nun 2, 1956, and I don't know if you want to go through all of these or not, but we can.
Sure, we have them through. I have a couple left.
So 4, we got Annabelle in 1967. Annabelle Comes Home, 1972 or 1969. They're not sure. The Conjuring, 1971. The Curse of La Llorona, 1973. The Conjuring 2, 1977. And The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, 1981. I didn't realize...
The 4th Conjuring movie on the way.
Right.
In production right now. The writer strike's over.
Did you know Curse of La Llorona was related to the Conjuring universe?
I think in the trailer, in the mask in the trailer, they said it. Yeah, I think that he said. I know it was from the producers of the Conjuring. I didn't know it was going to fit in the fold of the universe.
I don't know why it would. The Curse of La Llorona is a story that kids are told. I'm told this is a true thing.
Well, yeah, but the idea of this whole, at least the Conjuring side of it, this whole universe is that it's all very based on a true story, right? It's all very just that. The Ed and Lorraine Lauren, very real people. Their paranormal investigations, very real investigations, whether they believe what actually happened. But most famously, you got to remember these two people most famously are the people that investigated the Amityville house for parent after the Lutz family moved out. They were the ones who investigated the Amityville house, and they held a seance there. The whole works.
It's a pretty interesting story too. And these movies that are kind of based on these true incidents, they always to me come across as more believable at that point. When you can pull out real footage and things like that. And
scarier, really. I think scarier is what you're looking for. That's how I interpret it. Much scarier because anytime something could be real, it could be real. So when you're at home watching this movie in the dark, it's very much a hey, what's creeping in the shadows.
Right, and I thought that was a cool aspect of the Lorraine's character, is that she's able to see these entities and where no one else can. And there's these creepy scenes where she's seeing these demons kind of attached to the family, and you see them behind them, and if you're watching that at home and you're by yourself, you might start to think, is there something next to me or behind me that I can't see? Those kind of thoughts. And that's kind of a cool feeling because that's what you want from these kind of movies. You want to have a little bit of a thrill, I think, and
that's why you watch horror movies. I think that's why it's the idea. It's so that fear is this ultimate adrenaline. I happen to be a gigantic fan of horror movies. Just me in particular. I know we covered Midnight Meat Train last week, and that's more of a gore fest, right? This is my type of horror movie. It's a what's in the shadows, very creepy, ghost, and then it jumps into demon possession, which growing up with our religious background that we had is very scary because of that.
Yeah, and this kind of hits too as far as like those exorcist movies are concerned. It follows similar protocols, which is very cool because it's all based on a real thing through the Catholic Church, which is they actually do exorcisms, and there are still people that perform these things. And so one thing that stands out to me in this, and this is what you might see in literally any exorcist movie, is determining the name of the demon. And they use that in that. And when you have those kind of things, like we said earlier, with it calling upon true events, using real exorcism techniques is a pretty cool way to kind of give it that real feel to it.
I think yeah, because authenticity makes anything, especially in film, believable.
All right.
As much as you can draw the audience into making it feel real and letting them escape into the movie, the better the hook you're going to have, especially to scare them or to do whatever you're going to do, make them laugh, make them cry, whatever type of movie it is. That level of authenticity is always going to be a great bridge for your audience. And this movie 100% feels authentic. It's dated, so it's about paranormal investigation in the 70s. So you see a lot of cool moments of paranormal investigation with old school equipment, and similar equipment still used today, just higher tech, right? But
I get a poltergeist feel.
Yeah, sure.
When they brought the seance crew in there to kind of investigate, the stuff. It's similar to that, kind of what Lorraine and Ed Warren do.
Definitely, yeah, like Tangina, the feel from Tangina from Poltergeist.
Yeah. This house
is I have exorcised the demons. That movie's so good. Catch us next week as we cover the Poltergeist. Just kidding. Yeah, Carol Ann, going to the light, Carol Ann. Man, we're only going to cover the Poltergeist because that movie is so good. Anyways, back to the Conjuring. Yeah, so that level of authenticity helps the audience jump in, and we're really gripped, and it really gets you. I've seen this movie maybe 30, 40 times, and I got to tell you, it still gets me.
Oh, yeah. No, it's good.
Yeah.
We were talking about it earlier today, and we're saying, that it's subtle jumps, subtle scares in the beginning of the movie, and then basically the last 30, 35 minutes is intense. I mean, it is good. It's a good intense, and you get everything you want from an ending, I feel like. And you get a good chunk of it too. And that's, you're not just, so you get a little bit of everything. You get the subtle nuances of a horror movie, the beginnings, the tugging of the blankets, the weird smells, the noises. Yeah.
The clapping but that mechanism they built for this, hide and clap, whether the parent family actually played hide and clap or whatever they did for that, them building that into the story was brilliant. It's a masterpiece because it's going to be used against them.
Yeah, it's the children playing this child game, and then one of these ghost creatures or ghost people in there, the kid was a kid and wanted to play as well. Yeah. And that is super creepy. Very good. Yeah, very smart writing by James Wan. I think he is meant to do horror.
Oh yeah, he's the king of it. For a long time, there was Eli Roth, but then there's James Wan, and
James Wan. And Eli Roth is another one you probably consider the what'd you say? It was torture porn.
Yeah, he's definitely a gore fest guy. Yeah, shock and awe guy. Yeah, James Wan gets horror, and like he gets the because there's there's a small line between shoving a bunch of blood at somebody or just leaving this person walking slowly toward a door with no score and just a suspenseful hint of sound at the
Let your
end.
mind
Let your mind work. Yeah.
It's the same kind of the theory behind Alfred Hitchcock. You know, you're not going to get, you know, horrible bloody scenes from him. You're going to get something that it's going to make your mind kind of go to the place that he wants it to go.
It's what Steven Spielberg stumbled upon with Jaws. With Bruce breaking down as much as it did, he was forced to leave the shark out of the movie, which made the movie better. You know,
you kind of determine how big it is, where it's at.
Right.
If you can't see it, that's a scary thing too.
it's horrifying because that's a shark.
Yeah. Some to this day, I will not go swimming at night.
Not in a big body of water. In a swimming pool, I'm fine with it. Yeah, but not in a big body of water. No way. That's where all the Jawses live.
All right.
Yeah.
And I mean that kind of lets that your fear and imagination kind of grow when you kind of leave it up to, you know, you don't have to show literally everything. So
Right.
I think that's important for these kinds of movies.
Yep. But you mentioned the use of horror with the, you know, with the small kind of moments, and then it slowly builds into it. There's a lot of kind of undertone stuff with just like dialogue, use of dialogue. When they talk about, you know, the clock stopping at 3:07 and the witching hour, you know, that's a thing that's in a lot of movies. Now I heard it as 3:15 because it's supposed to symbolize the exact opposite time of Christ's death.
Okay.
That's what I've heard before.
I think this site said anywhere from 3 to 4, and then also a little bit after midnight as a time when I guess some demonic stuff can happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think all this, more or less, most of this stuff is just based on, you know, some folklore from long ago where people, you know, had thoughts, maybe not as
Sure, but there's definitely there's an eerie tone when you're up at 3 a.m.
Well, there is. I mean,
It's an eerie feeling.
but that's the cool thing about horror and ghosts. You know, I'm not the type of person that's gonna. I don't necessarily believe in all that stuff. But what's cool about it is I can understand those who do.
Right.
You know, and especially if you're sitting alone somewhere and your mind is already kind of convinced towards something, the noises, the kind of the subtle things that might happen throughout the night, that can definitely be construed from your perspective, which would be that those things exist, and you know, and I can see that. But when I watch these things, that's the kind of, I try to put myself into those shoes of the people that you know, that would be thinking that that might be real, right?
Right.
And it helps me to watch, and I like that. I genuinely like that. So when the family in this case was talking about that very nonchalantly, about the knocking and 3 times, they really didn't understand it. They didn't associate that with anything paranormal.
Right.
But the second that Ed and Lorraine heard that,
They
they knew, yeah. And so I think it's along those lines. For them, it was nothing, you know, and I think that's a good way to explain it. For somebody who's maybe a little more nuanced, that, you know, maybe believes a little bit more in those things, to them, that was a perfect indicator that there was an issue, right?
Right.
And so, you know, that's a kind of a cool thing about these things is if you, whether you believe or not, you can definitely find a scary spot in here to kind of live.
Yeah, and it's just well done like that, and it's there's a lot of moments where you and it's nice about. What's not so nice about a good horror movie is if you get onslaughted for 2 hours of just constant scare and gore and stuff like that, your brain essentially says, "Oh,"
Kind of turns off.
Yeah. But James Wan does a really good job of giving you breaks. Yeah. He gives you breaks, makes you feel comfortable again, and then totally rips the rug out from underneath you. Right. It's really good.
Yeah, like a perfect example of that was when she was playing hide and go seek, thought, you know, seemingly with her child,
yes.
but ended up playing with one of the little demon boys. And when she finally corners him in the closet where she thinks she's found her daughter, it turns out to be him, and nobody's in there. So there's no huge jump scare, just her definite fear of realizing that her daughter's behind her and nobody's in that closet. What did she just encounter?
Right, and her face in the whole time, because she's looking back at the closet the whole time, like what is happening? Get out of here!
Simple as that. Just like, you know, in The Exorcist, when he's asking for proof that she's the, you know, a demon, and what does she do? She just has the door of the drawer next to her slide open. It just comes shooting out. You know, simple, nothing crazy, but you still get that point across. This truly creepy.
You don't just subway full of blood.
No, you generally don't. And I think that's probably true for a lot of different genres of stuff too. Though I think there's the easy, and then there's the creative, right? So even for comedy or whether it be a drama, when you have a drama movie, they follow a traditional scheme, right? A storyline. They're pretty predictable. You can figure, but it's those ones that kind of dance around that and give you what you're wanting in a drama, but they find a creative way to kind of get to that point.
Sure.
And this is definitely a perfect example of a horror movie that does that. You know, they know the theory behind horror, right? But not just to give it to you like to where you can say, oh, I knew that was coming, that's coming, but very well thought out. Very well thought out movie.
I mean, it's well thought out and it's brilliant in the like, as we said before, we kind of watched the movie. This is going on in the background. We're watching it, right? And there's this scene where a body, all you see is feet swinging, and then so unnatural, the feet stop.
Right.
And it's just like, wow, So just little things and little moments. But we mentioned earlier, and this is kind of a point I want to shift us into. You mentioned earlier about how feeling it can feel authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I said, these investigations actually took place.
They did.
Right? So where you fall on the do I believe in ghosts, do I believe in demons, whatever it might be, these were real people. These movies are based on real people doing these real investigations.
Yeah, we actually have some cool trivia, I guess. Not trivia, I guess, but more or less, I guess, facts about some of the movie, the people in the movie.
Sure, yeah, go ahead. Let's do it.
Well, so we have the real Perrin family. They're a real family. They went and went back and had visited the set during the making of this. You have the real Lorraine Warren, who appears in this movie. She makes an appearance in the scene where the mom is sitting in on Ed and Lorraine's class.
Yeah.
She's the older woman in the front.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. That's a fun fact.
Yeah,
wow.
that's pretty cool. Yeah. So, and I thought that maybe they might have been passed away, and I believe Ed Warren maybe has passed away. I'm not sure, because I'm wondering why he didn't make an appearance and Lorraine did.
Well, let's double check, because I do believe you're right. I think Ed did die, and I don't think it was that long ago.
Yeah. I always got the impression that this was older, and that stands to just commend this movie even more about the time period it takes place in. When I see a movie from that's obviously made now, but depicts 1970s or any other era from the past, I like the clothes and the cars, and sometimes even with the way they shoot it to make it look older, right? And I like this movie. I think it really adds to the trueness of it when you're watching it.
Well, to kind of bring in the speed, Ed is dead, and Lorraine is dead as well. Ed died in 2006. Lorraine in 2019.
Oh, so she died a little after the making of this.
Just a little bit after the movie was made. But yeah, so which is kind of notable, investigations that are like, honestly, guys, you can look all these investigations up. This is a deep dive. It may not be the most comfortable deep dive you could do, but it is out there, and the information's out there, and it exists. So you have the Annabelle, which of course spawned the Annabelle series of movies, and
she makes an appearance in this.
Yeah, and it hinted in the beginning of the movie, right? She does make the Perrin family, which this movie is about, which heads up the Harrisville, Rhode Island, the house, the Whitford house. You can go there and set up a tour. From what I read I watched a couple of ghost hunting shows. From what I've read and seen is that the family that lives there now.
Yeah. They're not too happy with all the people showing up.
Sure, but this is not this family, but this is the family before this. But they were living just in the kind of the front of the house, where they weren't really living in the back of the house, because of the uncomfortableness. Whether they, I don't know, actually saw something or just uncomfortable.
Well, so one of the daughters wrote a book, and there's some things in there that some of the owners after them have kind of tried to, I guess, disprove, more or less, that they haven't really encountered some of these these signs that this family did. But what's interesting about this house is there was actually 8 generations of an extended family that lived and died in that house prior to the Perrons moving in. And so what's cool about that, though, is there was 2 suicides by hanging, 1 suicide by poison, rape and murder of an 11-year-old Prudence Arnold by a farmhand, 2 drownings, passing of 4 men who froze to death, in addition to other tragic losses. So this house definitely has some bad energy.
There's juju, yeah, for sure.
Although, you know, like I said, after they had moved out and some of these other families moved in, they're kind of they're basically saying that it's not really true, that they're not hearing any of these noises and experiencing any of these things, you know. So but you know, who's to say you know that it's not true? I don't know. It could be, but
well, back to the list. So this is a pretty famous investigation. Yeah. You know, what we just have a movie for it nowadays, but it's a pretty famous thing. And then of course they investigated the Amityville house where the Lutz lived after the DeFeos. Ronnie DeFeo killed his entire family with a shotgun. And his defense was, which he's still in, I think he's still in prison now. He may have been let out because he got a manslaughter charge, and he said the devil had made him do it.
that's a great story too.
That's a great story too. I honestly think we'll cover Amityville, and that might be a fun way we do things. But
do you like the original or the remake?
I'm a classic. I do like the remake. I think it's fine.
Good.
It's good, but I love the original. That's a movie that, you know, that scares the bejesus out of me to this day. So
there's been a few variations of the Amityville horror movies throughout the
mostly sequels, it seems.
Yeah, there's some newer versions, there's some sequels, and then there's some remakes. But yeah, I think the original and the one with Ryan Reynolds are probably your best depictions of
the James Brolin original.
James Brolin
is a great movie,
which is a direct remake of that movie.
Yeah, so Ryan Reynolds is a direct remake of that movie. And then also, so they did the Amityville investigation, and they came up that it was not a hoax. Something's there. And then the Enfield Poltergeist, which is the England, which is actually what the Conjuring 2 is about. Right. And I'm kind of on the fence where I love the Conjuring movie, but I feel like the Conjuring 2 is a better movie to me. But
Conjuring 2 is pretty creepy. The old man in that one, I think that one what really gets it in that.
Oh, it's so great. Yeah. But they also investigated Arnie Johnson murder, who was another person who killed somebody and used the defense of demon possession. You can see that was portrayed in the 3rd Conjuring movie, The Devil Made Me Do It. Then they did the Snydecker house investigation, the Smurl family investigation, and their investigation to Union Cemetery. That's just the famous ones, y'all. So that's just the ones that really were popular. They covered a lot of things, and they were really good about disputing, because the Catholic Church, it's real hard to get an exorcism. So they have to be able to dispute and say, no, this isn't worthy of exorcism, or it is. So that's kind of a big deal, too.
See that in this movie, The Conjuring 2, where he's gathering evidence so he can get approval for an exorcism, which, you know, turns out he didn't need that in this case because of the way the events unfolded. But, yeah, you get to see a little bit of that. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And it's a great story, too. And I think if you were to go, I think there's plenty of websites that can kind of give you the order to watch them in as far as chronologically.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right. But I think it's definitely something worth, you know, digging into. You know, I'm kind of a weird guy. I enjoy looking into the paranormal. I'm really into it. I dabbled in ghost hunting in my old college days, but not so much anymore. But like, I have a bit of fun with it. And there's so many great stories out there from, you know, when you talk about the United States and places, even in Houston, Texas, where we're at, there's a lot of good spots that are supposedly haunted, right? So it's kind of fun. It's a fun thing to deep dive into. It's a fun thing to go look around and play on the internet with.
Oh yeah, you go on ghost tours all over the place, and you know, cemetery tours are very cool. It's like this is the thought about being out there. Some late at night, everybody's seen a ghost story. Everybody's seen a scary story. When you were a kid, I'm sure there was something that scared you. Maybe you're desensitized to it now, but there's still that kid in us somewhere. Yep. You know, so a ghost tour, a trip to the cemetery. That's always very cool. We used to do. What do we call fear? We
used to do fear. Yeah.
It's like weird abandoned houses or abandoned warehouses and kind of snoop around with the camera and try to just get arrested probably.
Yeah, don't do that now.
Yeah,
We were idiots. We were certainly idiots for doing that. So don't do that. We by no means. I'm actually not going to put a warning scrolling in the bottom of this. We do not condone you going out and trespassing. Okay, please don't do that. But yeah, so I think all of this information that we've given you about the Warrens and about the Perron family and all about how the movie was made and all these things, and the biggest word I can think of is this authenticity. It makes this movie so well made and so terrifying because the possibility of what if it's real.
Right.
What if it is real, and how do you handle it? And how do you do this? Would you be as brave as the Warren family and going to save somebody like that, or would you not? I don't know. So something to think about, something fun. But please do watch this movie. It's great. It's great.
Definitely watch it. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor.
It's a really good movie. I think, honestly, please go out and do some reading about the Warrens. Their investigations are super interesting, and it's really kind of a fun thing to deep dive. Go watch this movie. It is absolutely worth it. It's a lot of fun. It's very scary. So if you're weak at heart, please don't do that. But I think the only thing we have left to talk about this movie are our ratings. So what'd you give it, Mike?
Well, I think I'm going to do 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. That is a strong rating. It's so strong that I'm going to match his 4 out of 5, and we're giving this movie a 4 out of 5 from the Rewatch show.
Yeah, 4 out of 5. I think that's a good rating for this movie.
Not perfect, does have its flaws, but overall, I probably wouldn't have given such a high rating if the movie still didn't scare me. So
It holds up.
it holds up so well.
Watcher.
Yeah, absolutely. And not just that, it's fun to go and watch the whole universe.
Yeah. Now
So-
you have options now.
So
Skip around, go in order.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm gonna try the order thing. I think that's a pretty cool idea. Yeah. So I think that's it. That's all we got for The Conjuring. Please go watch it. And the only thing left for us is we got 2 things on the agenda. Let's talk about the movie we're watching next week, Mike.
Okay, so I'm going with. Get ready.
Oh God. Remember, hold on. Remember last time? Can we all just go back in time and let's remember Midnight Meat Train? So
People have spoken. They love it.
I guess the people have spoken. They do.
We're gonna go with Goodfellas.
Ooh.
Pesci, Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, the
man.
late great Ray Liotta.
The great lady. That's right. Oh, that's
We haven't done a Ray Liotta movie since he's passed. So.
yeah, it's true. And man, great actor. So let's go ahead and give him his due. Yeah, for sure. Great choice, man. I can't wait to talk about Goodfellas next week, and that's about it. All right. Now at the beginning of the episode, we did mention a giveaway. Mike.
Yeah, so we are going to be giving away a Conjuring t-shirt. But in order to win, you're going to need to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video, and comment The Conjuring in the comments section. We'll be picking a random winner as soon as we reach our first 100 subscribers, so get to subscribing.
Man, that sounds awesome. A Conjuring t-shirt. Yeah. I'm going to go subscribe.
It's a good one, too.
We're not eligible for this.
No.
Okay, so there's that. That's unfortunate. All right, then. Well, that's it from us this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed The Conjuring. If you haven't watched it, go watch it now. Of course, as we mentioned before, for the giveaway, like, subscribe, comment. Lee, please go jump on our Twitter, have the conversation. We love all the things, cool feedback you guys have.
Let us know what you want to see. We're always interested to hear what the people would like to see.
I do know one of our fans has given us a suggestion for the Christmas season that we're getting ready for.
And we're definitely considering.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to be it for us from the Rewatch Show. I'm Tim.
And I'm Mike.
Go watch some movies.